Yeah. I'm tired. I'm very, very, very tired. And I think I'm not the only one. A lot of people are tired at the moment. It exhausts me how often we have to do video calls these days. I was one of the promoters for remote work, home office and all that stuff. But I never said do 8 hours straight on of video conferencing. This is nuts completely. And there are reasons why this happens, why we become so tired. And there's a good study, I will refer to that later. And there are ways to fix that. And this is what we want to talk about. So because I'm so tired, I don't know what to say. The team has to ask the questions.
Help.
What?
Help. Please help.
Well, that's a hard question to answer. Number one, you have the choice over your time and how you spend it. And I know, many will say no, I'm forced to do that this way. No, there is always an option to talk to your team lead, to the team, and find ways not to be in a day. The City Group just released that they have a complete day off, Zoom free, and don't make Zoom calls that day. Talk to your teammates and to them how they want to do it. Most of us just stumbled into that. And the most important thing is be clear. You choose to get up in the morning. You choose to join a Zoom call. And you got to challenge that if you have the feeling this is too much. And I include myself. For me, it's quite often too much. I don't do 8 hours of Zoom calls straight on. It's just too much.
So over the last couple of weeks or months, it evolved for me that Monday became a call day because we're doing so many calls on a Monday. And since I said to myself, okay, Monday is call day and I probably won't get any real work done on Mondays, it's like much better for me to work with that because it's for me a dedicated day to do calls. And I'm trying to put all the calls I have in a week on a Monday because I know I'm in calls anyways that day. So I can work the next days better and I'm not that much interrupted by calls. Do you think that is a good way you can use this somehow?
Yes. Yes, I think that's a smart way you do it, and you did intuitively the right thing. I mean, we worked together for, I think, 5 years now, and you felt the struggle, you felt the pain, how it feels like that you don't get the job done, and you made the decision for yourself. This is my communication day. Monday is communication day. And then you dedicate that day for communication. What I would recommend though, I know we have a meeting on Monday that involves all the people in the company. And this is from the study that Stanford did, and we gave that recommendation for that meeting we did already. The problem with a Zoom call with too many people is you have to look at all the different people all the time. So you look at them to see what they're doing, which is really exhausting. And at the same time, you tend to look on your own picture. This is the same with a selfie. If you just take a selfie, people don't look at you usually because they don't look into the camera. They look at their own picture because this is what we tend to look at. It's like looking into a mirror all day long, how they referred at the Stanford study. How to fix that? 2 ways. They recommend make the Zoom call small. We recommend, or what we did with the Monday meeting, as you remember, we say it's an audio-only call. So we go back to a telephone conference, which is not a telephone conference that everyone is involved in, but it's a radio show. We call it the Monday radio show. So you can launch the meeting, turn on your audio in your home, and you just listen to the colleagues talking, and whenever your name pops up, which can be the case, but usually it's prepared, you jump in. And that makes it far more relaxing in that. So choosing the format, if you do an audio only or a video format, is very critical, and I would recommend don't do more than 4 hours, if you can, of just Zoom calls. Try to build in audio only formats or take the phone.
What I really love about this format is that you say every time to all the participants, use the time, go outside, you don't have to have your video on. So that it really feels okay to do something else and not be
Yeah.
on your PC. So what could leaders do if they are starting to implement this kind of call in companies to make real sure that everyone is feels really safe about this?
So this is the second super important thing. If you sit in front of a camera, you feel like you're locked onto the desk. Even at the office, you can stand up, talk to colleagues, you can move around and walk. If you sit in front of your screen and stare in a camera all day long, or at the screen even worse, all day long, then you're not mobile. You cannot walk around. So leaders have to tell people, go out and do it, as you just mentioned. So we made a clear decision that the format is critical. And this comes back to the very, very core sentence. We shape our tools and thereafter our tools shape us. We just went into this pandemic and everyone was like, ooh, we're now using Zoom and Teams and all that stuff and this feels like a honeymoon. Bullshit. This is bullshit. If you don't make a decision how you want to use the tool and how to choose the format, you will become tired in the end. And leaders even worse than other people because they tend to say, this is not important, let's skip it. But as the Stanford study shows, it makes people really, really tired.
So as someone who is distracted pretty easily, which has gotten to be worse with Zoom calls, because you're just sitting in front of display and like everything. I'm reminded of the time I tried to study for school, sat at my desk and just stared outside the window. What can you do? Like take breaks and stuff, but some concrete things you can do.
Even for I would say I'm a very focused person and I can concentrate quite a lot. Even for me, it's really hard to stay concentrated if everything is just one click away. So clearly, it's easier to stay away from distractions if you take the phone and make a direct call. So make a precise choice, what should be a Zoom call or a Teams call or a Hangout and why, and what can be a phone call, even a one-to-one phone call. A one-on-one phone call has the big advantage. One, you have to stay concentrated and you're usually more concentrated. And B, you have the most intimate, distant connection to another human being because we learned that the phone call, the direct phone call is something very personal. Just pick up the phone and say, how are you? And have a one-on-one conversation. And people usually tend to say, oh, give me something better, some ideas for social time on Zoom. Sorry, I don't want to spend any more time on Zoom. And definitely not drinking a beer with you guys on Zoom. Sorry to say that, but like, I would rather pick the phone with one other person, take a drink and walk, if it's allowed wherever you live, and then have a conversation.
We as Blackboard have some, like before Corona, we had one big part of our coachings was like meeting rules for meeting, like I don't know if it's translated that way, but the two foot meeting. So standing in a meeting with 2 foots. And
bike shedding and all that stuff,
all that stuff. Would you say like some bad habits regarding meetings are transferred to Zoom meetings as well now?
Very interesting question. So the first part of the question is bad habits and which rules. I would say the bad habits is definitely if people don't take enough time between meetings because it feels like that you end a Zoom call and you can just jump into the new one. But the thing is, your brain has to get out of the one topic and then take time and get into the next topic. Minimum 15 minutes. I'm so mad if people put on an hour and say, yeah, that's because the standard and the calendar, and then they do that with Zoom calls. I don't do that. I need time in between, even to take a bio break or make a coffee or drink or walk or whatever. So this is really a bad habit, and there are new habits that become more important, and one is very simple. In Zoom calls, it's very hard, this also shows the Stanford study, to detect what the other person is doing. It's like nodding with the head. You need to like nod with the head a lot that it feels normal. It's like with a camera, you like need to do a lot that it feels normal. And for the other side, it's very hard to detect what they're seeing, hearing, or feeling. I mean, we're now all over this, oh, you're on mute, yeah? Okay, this is from last year. But this thing, you're on mute, is now, they don't look into the camera, so they don't look at me. If I would look on the screen now, I would look here all the time, talking to the screen, because I see you guys, but I wouldn't look to you in the camera. And doing that and learning that has two advantages. Number one, I stay very concentrated. Oh, I'm in a call, I talk to someone. Number two is, we all tend to be like, with public speaking, not to be too comfortable. And if we look at reactions all the time, we don't know what they are doing in the background when they do something. And they said that also in the paper, and we saw that also with clients, that if people do something in the background, you think all the time, oh, what is he doing now? Or what is she doing? Or do they think something? But if you talk to the camera, you don't give a damn about the rest in the call. And people then say, yeah, but I need to see what they think and feel and react. No. There is a part when you send the message, and when they send a message back, you focus on them. And I would recommend doing that vice versa. So if the other person answers, you like make their picture large and don't see everyone, but like them, and focus on them and do it bit by bit. So be kind with yourself and the others, but learn this skill of talking to the camera, and with that to the people.
What do you think are rules we try to establish in Zoom calls that we could, after Corona sometimes, use in real life meetings? Like, what would be the learnings from this time?
So one of the worst things that I see in Zoom, Teams, or wherever are the artificial backgrounds. That's the most stupid thing I've ever seen. If you think your home is not nice, then search for a nice corner. The smallest room has a nice corner if you make it nice. Because this is bringing your true self to the meeting. So we have the chance now to make meetings more human, because we see how we live, how we look, how it feels to have the chance to also see a part of your life that you usually don't bring to a meeting. And this is something a real life meeting has a hard time to copy, because I don't bring part of my flat or my home or whatever to the meeting, but I usually dress up in a way I like. And in the older work, we put on a suit and put on our costume and then went to the meeting. And I think that's a big chance that we make business more human and people focused by doing that. So turn off these backgrounds that cut off your head and ear and hand and whatever, and they just don't look good. Invest into a good camera and then make it look nice, and into good audio. I mean, a good setup costs less than a business class flight and less than 3 other flights within a country, which we usually spend without thinking. So this is a big chance what we can bring into real life meetings that we can now do in Zoom, but we have to then also make sure that we do that we actually bring ourselves and our personality and our authentic self into the meeting. I hope that answers the question.
I think one part also with a blurred background is that some people are thinking that they are being watched the whole time and everyone is just looking at them, which kind of makes you maybe uncomfortable, but yeah. I think in reality most people really don't give a shit about your small camera feed, right?
That's the thing I said about public speaking, and that has several layers that you address here. So people are not very comfortable in public speaking and being seen through a camera all the time, that's clear. But if everyone does that in a meeting, you are just one small icon. And it becomes more comfortable over time. So to see that as a chance to train something, a skill that you can train now, because everyone does it, and if everyone does it, there is a big chance, and learn how do you make your image look nice and your audio look nice. And sometimes it's your voice, sometimes it's the image, and play with that a little bit more than other people do. Because this is a handcraft. You can learn these skills. And on the other hand, which is true that people feel stressed about it, but I would say the background doesn't do any better. It's just way more distracting for people to see what others are doing and what is happening. And even worse, it's if you are the only one in the call with a camera on or two people and you pitch and you've never seen the other person. These radio show meetings you can only do in a trusted environment, so you need to establish it and allow people to turn off the cameras. But we do that quite often in meetings that we say, this is just for listening, turn off the cameras, like take the view outside, go walk, have a cigarette, whatever. And then we do that show. But in a pitch where you've never seen someone and you pitch to like an audience that you don't see, and I did that like 3-4 times, and I usually stop that meeting if they don't turn on the camera. I don't see it why you shouldn't do it in the year 2021.
I think we should mention that Zoom is a good software, and this is not about Zoom.
Okay, sorry, yeah. and the study says that the word zooming is like Google something, and Zoom is a good software. Zoom did a very good job, tremendous job to catch up with the technology, and this is definitely not against Zoom. I try to improve the tool and just make sure that we use it in the right way. It's not the solution for everything. And it does not help if everyone jumps on and says, hey, no problem, you can now work from home because we have cameras running all day long. Yeah, you see it, people get tired. And here's, as I said, in the study they give 4 reasons. As we said, excessive amounts of close-up eye contact, we talked about that. Seeing yourself all the time. Then they have video chats dramatically reduce the mobility, we talked about that. And the cognitive load is much higher in video chats. We also talked about that because you need to detect what they are doing. So these are the 4 main reasons. As I said, it's not magic, it's handcraft. And the thing is, it's the same with the smartphone. We made a video about no distraction years ago, saying turn off the notifications. Don't be the slave of your own smartphone. And the same is true for Zoom calls. It's a fantastic tool, like the smartphone is the best tool. But make sure you use it wisely and like a grown-up person, okay? That's the point.
Now a question to make it a bit less serious. Why are people waving to say goodbye at the end of the call?
Why do what?
People waving to say goodbye at the end of a Zoom call.
I have no clue. But I do it myself quite often. I mean, what are the most funny moments in calls? I mean, yeah, why are they waving to say goodbye? It's a good point. The thing is, you only see this, and then you go like, suddenly, oh, there's a hand. Oh, he has a hand. I don't know. That's a good question, yeah.
Be honest, how many Zoom calls in percent did you do in your underwear?
I think I did 1 in my running pants, but never in my underwear.
I think I did not in my underwear, but the application interview I did for here, I think I was wearing sweatpants, but not my underwear.
I mean,
at least
lucky you if you feel better like that. Maybe you have to run around in your underwear all day long to feel better. If that's the solution. Oh, we will link the study below. It's really worth it to read it. And if you want to take part in the panel, they have a panel where you can take part into. I highly recommend that because they're just now collecting and gathering data, and it's really exciting. It's a really exciting time to learn about that because this will define how we do remote work. And we definitely need to grow up. And I am very keen on my own time, and I don't want to be tired all day long. Definitely not. I love my work, and I want to keep doing that. Make sure you subscribe, join our Zoom calls. Take a walk and take your phone. Make sure you subscribe, watch another video, and join Discord. We have a chat going on in Discord in several channels. MP is the master of disaster, and there are several hundred of you guys already joined, so make sure you join that, and then I can join the discussion and everyone else. That's a nice thing, and it's not a Zoom call.